It's Thursday night. All right, here we go.
This is Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. It's time. Welcome to Cruise Control. Hello, everyone. I'm Fred Staub. Les has taken off for the second show today, so it's all me, and I am glad to be with you because we've got a lot of automotive news to talk about and a lot of things to get going, so let's get started. Production of the all-new Frontier is ready to roll and rolling, and we're going to talk about that and tell you a little bit about what's going on at the plant in Canton, Mississippi. Exciting news for sure. And Hyundai prices out the brand new Santa Fe, their brand new pickup, which is a very cool vehicle. We'll talk about that and show you a little bit about it. Also, we're going to look at the VW Beetle. Well, it's had a long run, but hard to believe certain replacements were designed but never built. We'll talk about them and tell you a little bit about the history of what could have replaced the VW Beetle. Then we're going to talk tech. Why is it a great idea for Audi vehicles to communicate with stoplights? New technology that could make driving a lot more pleasurable. We'll talk about that. And we're also going to do a version of As the Tesla Turns. There's a rat in the dashboard. Why are Tesla wires being eaten by rodents? It's a tasty treat for them. We'll talk about that. And then also this week, Elon Musk has said maybe the Cybertruck, that futuristic pickup that he's designed and revealed, he says maybe that will be a flop. Well, is that just reverse psychology, or does he really think it will be a flop? We'll talk about that. And I'll have an at-the-wheel review of a really cool vehicle. This is the second generation BMW 430i convertible. I had a chance to drive that vehicle and really experience it, so we'll be giving you the rundown on that. A lot to get to on this hour of Cruise Control. Don't forget to go over to cruisecontrolradio.com and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also check out the YouTube page there. It's all there. cruisecontrolradio.com, the place to go and check out. Big news, though, for the Nissan Frontier. This is a vehicle that was one of the oldest, if not the oldest, vehicle in the Nissan lineup. It may have been one of the oldest production vehicles still in production, and basically the same form as it was from, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. I'd have to do the math on that. But the brand new one started rolling off the assembly line in Canton, Mississippi, another small pickup truck, and we're going to get into that when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. Les Jackson has taken off for higher ground, so I will be with you this hour. Stay tuned, and don't forget, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. It's all coming up on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
public service.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's Fred Staub. We've got a great hour of automotive information, and it starts with building a brand new pickup truck. Yes, production of the all-new 2020 Nissan Frontier. I guess I would call it nowadays a mid-size pickup, because we have smaller pickups on the way, and of course they have their larger pickup, the Titan. But this was a vehicle that had been very popular. Matter of fact, very popular with automotive journalists. Just a nice pickup, but way out of date. And last year they updated the engine, the drivetrain, and kept it in the old body. But now they have a brand new one, and they started assembling it this week at the Canton, Mississippi assembly plant. So it's a very American-built vehicle, and really great to see these things being built and coming off the line. It is going to be available, I believe, in the fall. It's what they call a right-size pickup for the work week. That's their words. The work week, the city, or the weekend, or off-road adventures. Of course, it can be had in 4x2 and 4x4. And the standard engine is actually a rather large 3.8-liter direct injection V6. And that brings in 310 horsepower, which is the best in class, and a 9-speed automatic. So a very, I would say, kind of, I don't want to say throwback because it's a modern engine, but normally you would see like a small 4-cylinder with a turbo, but this is a relatively high cube, big cube engine for a small pickup, 3.8 liters, which I think might differentiate it. I mean, there are people out there that say, hey, I want a naturally aspirated engine. I want something that is more standard with a 9-speed automatic transmission, sort of a real heavy-duty drivetrain, and I think that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Now, it also has all the advanced driver assist type of capabilities and safety capabilities. It has a 9-inch color touchscreen and standard technology, which is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with Wi-Fi and wireless charging available. Seems like all of those things have to be available these days, and as you know, certain manufacturers tried to charge a monthly fee for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and that soon went away because it's become kind of the standard thing, and probably when you think about it, if you've ever used Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you'll know that it basically is like having a navigation system in your vehicle. So there you have it. They're rolling off the line, and I think it's a good thing. I really think that this is going to be a nice addition to the small pickup truck market. It's going to go against things like the Ford Ranger and the Canyon and some of the other ones. Will we see a small pickup truck from the folks at Ram? I'm thinking probably yes. Maybe we'll go back to the Dakota. I don't know, but I think they'll certainly want to play in that market. And then also there's the smaller market when you look at vehicles like the Ford Maverick. Now, staying on this theme, let's talk a little bit about the Santa Cruz from Hyundai. This is a vehicle that is a little bit more like, I would say, the Honda Ridgeline. It's sort of a pickup. It's sort of a car. Maybe the modern-day version of what an El Camino would look like, but it's a little bit better at being a truck. And they released some pricing on this vehicle that starts at $23,990. This is also built in Montgomery, Alabama, and it is, once again, as I pointed out in the past, this is more of a traditional new-style drivetrain with a 2.5-liter turbo. All-wheel drive, of course, is available. You wouldn't want to build it without all-wheel drive. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission, so not a CVT, an automatic transmission. The SE model starts at $23,990. Then it steps up to the SEL for $27,190. The SLE Activity for $30,460. The SE for $25,490. The SEL with all-wheel drive for $28,690. And then it goes up all the way up to the Limited with $39,720. But we'll talk a little bit more about the Hyundai Santa Fe when we come back. We'll also talk about the fact that they're getting rid of one of their cars because, let's face it, people want CUVs and crossovers and SUVs and pickup trucks. So when we come back, we'll tell you a little bit more about the Santa Fe and the Santa Cruz and what they're getting rid of on the Hyundai lineup. Be right back.
Oh, come on.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. Glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. You can link over to all our social feeds, our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube page. If you miss a show, you can always catch it on the podcast. It's all there. cruisecontrolradio.com. And getting a lot of people subscribing to our YouTube page. We're excited about that. Don't forget, we got a lot of content there, extended content, reviews, interviews. If you missed something, you want to see it, it's all there. Check us out at Cruise Control on YouTube as well. So a lot going on there. We're talking a little bit about the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and I told you the SE front-wheel drive starts at $23,990, and then the SLE all-wheel drive starts at $25,490. If you step that all-wheel drive up to the SEL, and it's kind of hard to break out all of the trims here for you, but this will just kind of get you into the ballpark. We're talking about a very cool little car-like pickup, very stylish. I would say it's a little bit more curvy and styled than the Honda Ridgeline, which it certainly competes with. You can option this all the way up to $39,720, but I'm sure if you look at a SEL or an SEL Activity, you can keep it under $30,000. And the good thing is, as it is a Hyundai, it comes with every vehicle comes well equipped. 18-inch alloy wheels, LED taillights, cargo area lighting, integrated rear bump side steps, rear privacy glass, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. Think about this. This is all standard. Remote open tailgate via the fob, lane keeping, following assist, this intelligent speed warning. So with any of these Hyundai vehicles, you're not going to end up with something that is just not well equipped. Now, if you are looking for a Veloster in the Hyundai lineup, you may have to act quickly unless you want the N model, which is still going to be produced, because Hyundai is saying the Veloster is officially gone. It will not be sold in the 2022 model year. Only the Veloster 2.0 Premium R-Spec Turbo and Ultimate. I'm sorry, the Veloster 2.0 Premium R-Spec Turbo and Ultimate are discontinued due to the expanded SUV lineup that includes the Venue and the Kona. The Veloster N model will remain as a carryover. You're seeing the 2021 one currently, and that will basically be the full Veloster lineup. Now, it's a common thing. Let's face it. People want crossovers. They want small pickup trucks. They want SUVs. The Veloster was kind of a niche market. I've driven a number of them, and they're kind of hard to see out of the back of them. Very sporty, probably a limited appeal. Once again, when you talk about things like the chip shortage, we did a story earlier on Cruise Control talking about how Jaguar is just going to concentrate on the models that sell well, in their case, the Defender and the Evoque. So this is another case where Hyundai's saying, hey, this is not a major player in our sales platform. Why are we going to continue to build it? Or why are we going to continue to build it with all the different levels of performance? Let's just build the performance variant that will probably have some people that maybe would have bought a midline Veloster. They will now step up to the end, or they'll just buy something else. So there you have it on the Hyundai Veloster. Interesting story this week. If you have a cell phone, and who doesn't, Jeep has announced that they will offer Gorilla Glass, a Gorilla Glass aftermarket windshield for certain models. It is a lightweight, durable JPP Gorilla Glass windshield. It uses the same chemical strengthening technology used for cell phone screens, and it's going to be backed by a limited 2-year warranty. The thing about this, if you've ever, I've had this happen, you get a new vehicle and you're driving down the road and a rock hits the windshield from who knows where, truck in the other lane, you're on the highway, whatever, and now you've got a big chip right in your field of vision, and it's annoying, and you think, like, my new vehicle now is messed up. Well, that's the whole idea behind Gorilla Glass. The Gorilla Glass is designed to prevent those chips and designed to prevent, it has a thicker layer of glass that will prevent those little stones from chipping windshields. I would like to see this happen across the lineup, and because there's nothing worse than sitting there and looking out and seeing that little chip. I remember my dad got a new car, and within like a week or two, we had a big chip in the windshield. It never traveled out or spidered out, but still, you're looking at it, and it's kind of an annoyance. So you can buy this. It is basically replacement class right now for 2018 to 2021 Jeep Wrangler JL and Jeep Gladiator JTs, and 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JKs. Let's hope that we see this across the lineup, and we're going to see more of this in the future. And I just don't know why they don't make it standard on the lineups of all cars. And basically, probably they will at some point. But then again, if you have this vehicle, windshields are not really big news for this. One of the vehicles I always wanted to drive is something called an Aerial Atom, and it has a Audi turbocharged engine, and it's just a frame basically with a seat in it. It's almost like it would be almost like driving a early Indy car on the street, right? But incredible performance, incredible power to weight ratio. Well, GM Design put this up on their, I believe it was a Twitter feed, and it is an open-wheel roadster. It was put together by a senior designer for GM, and it is a tubular body, sleek body panels, very little windshield, so it wouldn't matter if you had Gorilla Glass or not. No one knows what's powering it, but some think it's the 275 horsepower turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder from the Camaro. Right now it's just a concept. Would GM ever build something like this? And would you buy it? I mean, that is something you can throw into the comments on either our Facebook Live or our YouTube Live. Would you buy something like this for the ultimate in performance? It's all about lightweighting. It's all about wind resistance. And I would say I probably wouldn't want to commute in this daily, but wouldn't it be fun to think about it as a track car or as a fun car to have in your garage? Pretty wild. I would not want to drive it in the heat we've been experiencing across the country now, because you would just be roasting in there. But I think it's a cool design concept from the folks at GM. GM typically doesn't take big chances like this. I mean, the biggest chance they've taken, I guess, is redesigning the C8 into a mid-engine vehicle. That's a big chance for them, and they've done it. But this seems like it would be a very, very niche market vehicle. The only thing they built that is kind of similar would be the Solstice, which was the little 2-seater that had a turbocharged, I think it was 2.4-liter engine, and the Saturn Sky. That was the two versions of that. I don't know. Would they build this, and would you buy it? Let us know either on Facebook or YouTube, the Cruise Control Facebook or YouTube. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about these vehicles that are vehicles that, well, Volkswagen thought about replacing the Beetle with, but they never got around to doing it. So we'll tell you a little bit of VW history when we come back on Cruise Control. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. We're glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out the YouTube page, the podcast, and more. cruisecontrolradio.com, 24/7 automotive information. It's always there at your fingertips, so it's good stuff. Hey, I told you before the break, we're going to talk about Volkswagen, a little history lesson of Volkswagen. One of the things I always like to talk about is what if, and, you know, one question I asked some of the folks at GM one time is, what if you didn't downsize your cars and they just got bigger? Remember in 1977, they downsized their cars, and it was a little disappointing because I kind of liked the big, heavy cars at that point, but you know, I never saw their designs, what they would have done if they had kept designing them. And then we also did that story a few months back, which you can find on our YouTube page, interview with the GM, with the Ford historian, talking about what the Mustang could have looked like. And we showed you some examples of that. Well, now we're going to show you some examples of what the Volkswagen Beetle could have looked like. Now, remember, the Beetle was a long-running vehicle. More than 21.5 million were sold before the final modern generation Beetle rolled off the assembly line in 2019. And it basically goes back to the end of World War II, right? Now, VW has released some of the early prototypes of replacements for the vehicle, including this EA4712, and then there's an EA48. Both were made in 1955. You can see that it does look like a Volkswagen, almost looks like a Carmen Ghia in the front. And by the way, we put some of these up on our Facebook page, so you can check them out and take a look at it. The next project that was going to come up in 1960 was something called the EA97, and it would have had a 1.1-liter engine, air-cooled again. And believe it or not, it is one that came up in 1960. They built 200 pilot cars, and it was kind of a pontoon-shaped body, a 1.1-liter engine, and they thought it looked too close to either the Type 3 and the Beetle. Sort of looks like the top of the Beetle with a Type 3 body, so it never got built, but they did build 200 of them, and it is in the Auto Museum at Volkswagen. And then they had some really cool ideas that in 1966 they came up with something called the EA142, which is a Type 4. It was kind of the development vehicle for the Type 4, 1.7-liter rear engine. So you can see through all of these that there is a little bit of the Volkswagen heritage and a little bit of the Volkswagen look of models that did make it to production. It's kind of neat, though, that Volkswagen has kept these, and they've kept these in their museums. They had a great little roadster in 1961, the Type 3 Cabriolet. Sweet-looking little roadster, which gave an upmarket alternative to the Beetle. And then later on, some of their prototypes to replace the Beetle got a little bit more square. I almost think they're more like the Golf, the early versions of the Golf, and in our case, the Rabbit. They got a little bit squarer. In 1969, they had the EA276, which was the inspiration for the Golf and sold as the Rabbit, and it had an air-cooled flat 4 engine, as in the Beetle. Of course, later on, they went to a more traditional water-cooled front-mounted front-wheel drive type of setup. But if you go over to our Facebook page and take a look at some of these, certainly the EA266 was becoming much more like an early Rabbit, and it had a 1.6-liter engine mounted under the rear seat, with a transaxle directly behind it to save space. So pretty cool to see all this history from Volkswagen and know that they kind of stuck with what they knew, the Beetle. They kept doing it. Will the Beetle come back? I don't know. I mean, I think that's a question I'll put out to our listeners and see if they want to drop us a line on Facebook or our YouTube page. Will the Beetle come back? Will there be another version of it? I remember when the last iteration of the Volkswagen came out, they wanted to make it more masculine, to make it a wider appeal. I don't know if it did that. I think it's kind of a car that you either like it or you don't, and the people that wanted to buy it bought it. It was a different scenario down in South America where they kept building the original vehicle, and weirdly they were used, many of them were used as taxis, where they took the front passenger seat out. You entered through the passenger door because it had two doors, and then you kind of made your way to the back seat. So kind of an odd arrangement, but it was a good vehicle in the sense that it was cheap to run as a taxi. Well, let's move over to our next story, and that is about Audi. Audi is doing something very interesting, and it could affect the way you drive. I don't know about you, but have you ever encountered where you're going through a intersection and you want to know how soon that light is going to turn red, or how soon it's going to turn green even? So now Audi has first in vehicle technology, something called TLI. It communicates between vehicles, so vehicle-to-vehicle communication, and traffic signals to provide time to green, green light optimized speed advisories, so how fast you have to go to hit all the green lights. And it's designed to help minimize drivers' stop-and-go driving. I find this to be pretty interesting. It is part of a U.S. Department of Transportation research program that found that stop-and-go driving can lead to more than 15% greater fuel efficiency when drivers are able to respond to predicted traffic signal changes. One of the things I'd like to see, and I don't know if this system does this type of thing, but I know in Berlin they were trying to use cameras to look ahead to see if there are any cars crossing, let's say 3 or 4 cross streets ahead of you. So let's say you're sitting at a stoplight, and all of us have done this. You're coming home late, or you're going to work early, or whatever. You're sitting at a stoplight. There's no one around. And you're like, why am I waiting here? There's no one around. There's no one coming in any direction. But, of course, you don't want to go through it because someone could appear out of nowhere, or there could be a police officer hiding behind the sign. So what Berlin did is they had these cameras that looked ahead and said, hey, there's no one coming for blocks around, so I'm going to shorten that red light so you can keep going, because there's really no need for you to stop because nobody else is coming the other way. I'm not so sure that the Audi system does this, but it would be great if that was incorporated into it, because there's nothing worse than sitting there when you don't have to. And this all works off the cellular network and connects via either CV2X, vehicle to vehicle. It is being tried in Virginia, Phoenix, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Broward County, Florida, Portland, Oregon, Missouri, parts of Missouri, Philadelphia, and Orlando. So it's an interesting thing. I think it works off an app on your phone. I believe you have to have an Audi to do this. So if you have an Audi and you're in one of those areas, find out about this. Audi has also used similar technology to put into their integrated toll module, which I think is great, because you don't want to buy a new car and there you have to stick the Easy Pass or whatever you call it up on your dashboard. This will be a more elegant use of that. Will be built into the car. So good for Audi. Great technology. Excited to hear more about it. Let's do a quick as the Tesla turns. Turns out that rats are eating Tesla wiring. And one of the reasons they're doing this, and Tesla is not alone in this, is people are using soy-based insulation around wires as opposed to regular insulation, which is petroleum-based. So they're trying to be a little bit more green. Problem is, rats and rodents like this. Some people, according to a story in the New York Post, are experiencing problems with their Teslas because rats are eating the wires and things like air conditioning is not working and all that. The only workaround that I've seen is there's a tape that is a chili-flavored tape that you can put around some wiring that you can get to that means the rodents don't like it. They taste it and they don't like it. There's also aftermarket pieces that emit sounds and flash strobe lights and things like that. But it's going to be a problem in the future because they want to use more of the soy-based insulation to cut down on petroleum use. Also, real quick, Elon Musk says the Cybertruck might be a failure, even though he's got 1 million pre-orders for it. Why is he saying that? Well, we'll look into that when we come back. We'll also have an at-the-wheel review of the BMW 430i convertible. All coming up on Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. Glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out YouTube, podcast, and more. CruiseControlRadio.com is the place to find all that. We've got a great at-the-wheel review of the 430i BMW convertible coming up, but I just wanted to finish that story we started before the break about Elon Musk doing some tweeting, as he likes to do. Of course, we've talked a lot about the Cybertruck coming up, his all-electric, a little bit alien-designed pickup truck. Of course, since the time he revealed it, as Tesla models really have a long time before they get to from when they're first shown to when they get to production. Now the landscape has changed. There's the F-150 Lightning. There's electric Silverados, electric Rams on the way. Rivian building a nice pickup truck. More and more and more every day. Musk has admitted now that it might be the Cybertruck might be his first failure because the design is too alien-like and unlike anything else, and it looks like it was made by aliens from the future. What's the play here? I don't know. Is he just feeling that it might not be successful and he's just setting it up? Or is it that he's using reverse psychology and saying that people will be like, no, come on, we'll buy one and make it popular? He has over 1 million potential orders for this thing. I would say it probably won't be a flop if he even gets half of them. And it'll probably get more than that. Even if he gets 10% of that, or people actually buying them once they're built, he'll have a pretty good product. So will it be as popular as the F-150 Lightning? No, I don't think so. Or any of the other Ram electrics or the Hummer electrics or anything like that. No, it won't be as popular as those. But we'll have to see what the play is there with Elon Musk and his Twitter feed and why he's doing that. Hey, let's do a at-the-wheel review. I had a great vehicle this week, and it was the 430i BMW convertible. Of course, this is the vehicle that is a little bit controversial to some, and it's controversial because of the grille. We're going to show you that in a second, but it has some big changes for this model year. This is the second generation of the car, and it gets a soft top, which will fold away or fold up in about 18 seconds. There's no latching. There's no anything you have to do other than press a button. And I have to say, as far as convertibles go, this looks great with either the top up or the top down. It folds away really neatly. There's sort of a piano black trim piece and a tonneau cover. And I was actually able to use this vehicle with the top down because typically when I get a convertible vehicle to test, it typically rains all day and for the week that I have it. But I was actually able to, after the show last week, go out and do some top-down motoring with this vehicle and put it to the test. And I have to say I enjoyed it. This is the 430i, not the 440i. The 430i comes with a turbocharged 4-cylinder. And the horsepower was not huge, but I think it did a great job of moving this vehicle along. The quality that they put into this vehicle is pretty neat, I have to say. And while it was not an M version of the car with the bigger engine, it had some of the little bits and pieces of M trim that I think set it off, and a great looking vehicle. Now, the grille, of course, is specific to the 4 Series, and I had about 5 neighbors in my driveway debating the grille. There's a lot of BMWs around here, and a lot of them did not like it. They thought it was too big, and I said, well, you have to look at what Audi has done, what Lexus has done, and that has kind of been a style where the grille goes all the way down to the front of the vehicle. And some liked it, some didn't. Yeah, 4-cylinder turbocharged, 255 horsepower, 295 feet of torque. If you opt for the 440i, you would go up to the 6-cylinder with 382 horsepower and 364 pound-feet of torque. Was it fast? Not really. Not really fast, but it was more a cruiser, top-down cruiser. You can put that top down, as I said, in 18 seconds. It works great. There's still decent storage in the trunk. There is a fairly big open area, although the trunk lid is kind of small. But there's a fairly big open area, and then there's a kind of a shelf or a slot underneath where the top goes down. Interior was really, really nice. Ours had that M package, which brought in things like the aluminum tetragon trim, the M steering wheel, the M sills, a whole bunch of other things. The rear seat, not a lot of room. Basically, not a lot of leg room at all, but the front of the vehicle was quite roomy, and it was comfortable to drive. Very nice fit and finish all the way around the vehicle. Felt solid with the top down or the top up, whether you had all the windows down or you had the side windows up when you were driving. This one had a $500 option, the neck warmer, which is a little bit of a vent on the front of the head restraints, and it would blow a little hot air there. That was a $500 option. I don't know. Would I get that? I don't know. Probably not. I love the dashboard, the fact that you could see the navigation right in front of the driver. It was a glass cockpit. If you've driven a BMW in the recent couple of years, you will recognize all of the controls for the on the dashboard, very similar to other BMWs. But I thought this had a good look. It was not a hard riding vehicle, does not have huge wheels, but it is a sporty vehicle. 255 horsepower, moves it along pretty nicely. Now let's talk about the pricing, shall we? Now, the 430i CV is base price of $53,100. Ours was in the mineral white metallic, really nice metallic white, mother of pearl type of look. We had a Tacora red leather interior with contrast stitching. That was a $1,450 option. We had the ZDH dynamic handling package, which included the Sport differential and the M Sport brakes with red calipers. That was a $2,400 option. And then we had the M Sport, which brought in some of those cool appearance features and also some of the great features that you would really want, like variable sport steering, without lines designation outside. I'm not quite sure what that is. 19-inch M-spoke bicolor wheels, very attractive. Adaptive M suspension, that aluminum tetragon trim I told you about, the M steering wheel, LED fog lights. We got a parking assist package. Did not really use that much, $700. Premium package, heated steering wheel, comfort, access, keyless entry, heated front seats, ambient lighting, head-up display, live cockpit, Pro, including Navi, $2,300. So all in, we popped for the Harman Kardon surround sound system, which was not that much more. All in, net total was $66,225. Destination charge $995. Out the door price $67,220. So, you know, BMWs are not the least expensive car you can buy, but they're sure one of the most fun cars you can drive. Me, I was okay with the large grille. It was okay. But that is your At the Wheel review of the 430i convertible. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, and we'll see you down the road.